read 2 books in the month of May so far, and we are nearing the end of it, and that tells me that I have not made enough time for reading recently and that life has been somewhat all-consuming. So today is Saturday and I'm wanting to dedicate a undetermined amount of time at the moment to reading, focusing on that, and just making intentional time to do so. So beginning with The Lighthouse Witches, I started this one this morning. I'm only 24 pages through. So far, really enjoying it, and this is going to be the first book that I pick up. This might be a weekend reading vlog or perhaps extended to a week. I will let you know as we progress. So grab yourself your most warming hot drink, a cozy blanket, and let's get to making intentional time for reading. Checking for orientation. I'm now 304 pages through, so close to the end, and this book has been what I can only describe as a whirlwind. It's been so full of so many important topics and discussions and key themes in mind play and trickery, and I just feel as though this is going to be a book that I really need to sit with once I've finished it and kind of go back through my annotations and my key points and the key themes to really grasp and understand what this book is saying and what it's not saying, and the social commentary of this book. So far it's been filled with mystery and yellow facing, racism and white supremacy, fetishization, and also cultural appropriation and people thinking that they're appreciating. I just feel as though it's packed with so many important topics and it's just a must read. I think this is the great. It's the level of the great. If you haven't seen my recent post, I am not star rating books anymore. I'm categorizing them into levels. So hoping that those 4 levels will help encapsulate my thoughts more while keeping it summarized, but not having the vagueness of a star rating, I suppose. Anyway, getting off track, absolutely adoring this read. It's given me so much to think about. So many mind-boggling elements in it that is filled and packed, that is known in our society, but the way that it's portrayed and the characters it's portrayed with is so harrowing and so insightful and so just thought-provoking, I guess. So I'm going to continue reading it, probably sit with it for a little bit, and then update you on my thoughts. one, and it's going into the great category within my new categorization of books. I've also just swapped over to Goodreads. I loved Storygraph, but sadly the community aspect just isn't there for me. It seems a lot of the people in which I follow and I'm interested in their reviews are on Goodreads, so I'm going to try and do a dual kind of updating Storygraph and Goodreads and see how long that goes for. But if you notice a Goodreads link anywhere, then it is in fact mine, and that's I've added it in. But the themes for this one, which I've written down, have been academia, oppression, cultural appropriation, fetishization, and satire, which immensely confused me reading this book because I don't like to read reviews. I don't like to kind of understand books before going into them or really know much about it. So I kind of got the fact that it was like the funniest novel I've read all year, and I was really, really confused. And I don't know if being autistic also doesn't enable me to really understand what satire is. Quite often it just goes straight over my head and I just don't get it. So I was very much in the deep throes of this book. I loved it. I loved being in that, and I loved experiencing that, and I thought it was really well written, and I really did enjoy it, and I had a good time with it, and felt as though it was full of meaningful conversations and discussions while also being on this kind of self-discovery journey with our main character Ingrid, and understanding her culture and what all of this means with that satire lens on, which now, having read some reviews after reading it, I understand the elements of it that felt a bit misplaced or disconjoined, and that's obviously what the intent was for it to be satire. But yeah, I don't think that's a fault of the authors. I think that's probably more, like I say, my autistic brain not really understanding or comprehending that element of things. But overall, very good read, did really enjoy. Definitely not a book for everyone, has some heavy topics and triggers in here, so do research reviews before diving into it, but I had a good time with it, so it's going into my great pile. I'm going to pick out another book to read, see how far I get into it, but yes, I think I've only now read 4 books in the month of May, so hasn't been the best, but you know, I haven't been able to make much time for reading, so at least we're intentionally making time now. It is the 31st of May, which is of course the final day for the month of May, so it's a final day for getting some books read for this month. So I wanted to do a little check-in of the books I'm currently making my way through and the plans for today. I started Swift and Saddled on my Kindle last night, and I am 21 chapters in, which is equivalent to 187 pages and 63%. Enjoying it so far. I think it's a really good time. I want to kind of read it in its entirety before I give any more thoughts than that. Then I'm still making my way through The Lighthouse Witches, in which I am 75 pages through. I haven't picked up this one any more than when I last checked in with you. And then I am still making my way through Girls Against God, and 66 pages through. This one is very different to Jenny Haval's other novel, Paradise Rot, in which is one of my The Great books. I really, really love that book, and it's very different in terms of the way that the narrative is being told, and it feels very much more discombobulated than what Paradise Rot was. I feel as though there was sort of some conformity in that novel, whereas this one, it does feel a bit kind of all over the place. There is a lot going on, and you're kind of having to nitpick different bits out to make sense of it. Feels like it's taking a lot of mental energy and a lot of mental work to really understand and get to grips with this book. So that's why I have quite a few books on the go that I'm actually actively reading. So yeah, I'm feeling a bit better today after my hospital visit yesterday. Still not 100%, still going to take it really, really slow and easy. Probably won't be leaving the house, so hopefully lots of reading will get done in between resting too. So yes, let's get back to reading. I finished Swift and Saddled, and it's going in the good category. This had themes of being a ranch owner, small town, cowboys. It talked about depression a lot and the actual reality of it, how it is to live with it and sort of understand life and coping with it rather than fixing it or it becoming something which you mend, and also anticipating that you will have rough spouts coming up too. It had interior design in here and self-worth and understanding understanding and experiencing healthy love in which you haven't done that before, themes of friendship and experiencing a family dynamic and a friendship dynamic, and just an overall atmosphere that is loving and welcoming and that you can be your true self in. It also had a lot of self-doubt in here, in which that was discussed and talked about, and a lot of open communication that I appreciated. I wrote down a few others, and that is, yes, learning to love yourself and be accepting of kindness and friendship. So those are the main themes that I can think of that were encapsulated in this book, and I did really enjoy it. I think it was a really great second installment. I'm really enjoying this series as a whole, and will probably continue reading them on, because you can sort of just see them brewing and happening in each of these stories, and I just love the fact that they're always like a big family, and then you can see from your previous book and books to come like the progression of how it's going to happen and how these characters are going to meet and form, etc. So yes, really did enjoy this one. I downloaded a few other books on my Kindle. So I've got The Rest of Me, I've got Alive and Wells, and then A False Start. So I seem to be really in the mood for cowboy romance books at the moment. So I'm going to start one of those, I think, just because I am wanting just a really light-hearted, quick, easy, fun read, but also ones that have those kind of key themes and topics of discussion in there. I'm going to make some food, and I think I'm going to sit out in the conservatory because it's a really nice and sunny day today. And I will let you know and update you how I get on. I finished The Rest of Me, in which I read on my Kindle, and I've spent basically the whole day outside reading this book. I am rating it in my good tier. I thought this was really interesting to read. It kind of had elements of it being like a very stereotypical romance in terms of how it was going to go. You kind of knew the plot, but it had some really heavy themes in there. It had notes on grief and how to love yourself, how to deal and live with irreversible actions. There was a plot twist in here that I wasn't expecting, and it was just full of, yeah, just really understanding life with loss and life with grief and irreversible actions. And there was also elements of healing your inner child in here. There was conversations, because our protagonist is a single parent. It's all about single parenthood as well. And yeah, there was conversations with the children in which was sort of healing the inner child, and there are children of different ages as well. So that was really interesting to read about. And then the few other things I wrote down is Small Town. Yeah, I think I'd just say it's very centered around grief, and it could be quite triggering, so definitely check out trigger warnings, but there were still light-hearted elements in here, and it just felt so immersive. It's so immersive. I just fell into this book and didn't want to put it down, and I feel like I just knew these people and I was living their lives. So yeah, I do recommend this one if those themes sound interesting to you. So that is quite a few books read now. I'm quite proud of myself. I think I'm up to 5 or 4 books in the month of May, so not great but not awful to say we've actually made time for reading and actually dedicated time to do that, and that's all I could ever ask for. So this is going to be the end of this adventure, because it is now only a few hours until May closes off, so I don't think I'm going to be finishing any more books in that time. So thank you ever so much for watching, friends. I'm sorry that this vlog was so discombobulated. Kind of was an accurate representation as to how my life has been lately, and same as my brain. But I still hope you enjoyed, and I hope that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you have a wonderful day or night. And until next time, bye!